Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Fortnite Battle Royale Season 8 tips and tricks video. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to win endgame in Season 8 because there have been quite a few changes, especially lately, not just that came out with Season 8, with changing on how the end zone work, where basically this came out in, I believe, patch 7.40, where now the end zones are a little bit like you have to travel further distance, but you have more time to do so. Also with the changes in like 7.40 and Season 8, 8.0, a lot of stuff has changed for late game. I'm going to talk about how I think you can win late game with the less amount of mats available. Of course, you can only hold 500 of each mats now. However, you can farm them up quicker. And also why I think glider redeploy is the #1 key for wins in like public solo matches. So if you guys could drop a like in this video, let's go for 2,000 likes. That would be absolutely incredible if we could hit that. This first gameplay, you guys may have seen part of the footage, but we're going through two gameplays here and showing you guys just the end footage. So we're talking like top 5 because this is how to win end game. Now, let's break down and let's get right into it. So right here you can see I am build battling with this guy up in the air, and of course right there I eventually get enough damage into him to get the kill. And once you get a kill like that, you know, there's always the risk reward or the opportunity cost or what you're investing into something like that. So for me getting that kill, I ended up burning through quite a bit of mats. However, by getting that kill, I actually am able to replenish his mats. Now let me talk about the #1 thing for winning late game and end game. It is the glider redeploy, and I'm going to tell you why. Now the glider redeploy has its strengths and weaknesses, but if you're playing with the redeploy and other players don't have it, or even in a worse scenario, if say you're top 3, okay, or top 2, and the other player or the other players have the glider redeploy and you don't, you're at such a severe disadvantage. It is insane. And that's why I think that glider redeploy, why I don't run it like, let's say if I find this early game, I might take double shields over a redeploy if there's 80 people left or 75 people left. But when it breaks down and when it gets down to that top, usually, you know, top 15 or top 20 area, when I start killing people in that top 20, top 15 area, and they start dropping the redeploy, that is usually when I will swap and I'm willing to swap like 3 big pots. I'm willing to swap sometimes even an SMG or whatever is necessary to be able to get that redeploy. But usually my end game, the best layout to have end game is sort of exactly like what I have here, which is when you're down to the top 5, you want to have 3 reliable weapons. My favorite 3 weapons are AR, shotgun, and then SMG. I can go without the SMG if necessary, although I will prefer to run with like I'm running right here. Like this is pretty much the ideal layout, right? The gold AK, the gold pump, and then probably the gold P90 would be ideal there. Then I usually like to carry 6 minis and then have the glider redeploy, and then if I do get damaged more, hopefully have campfires in my inventory. Now, why do I carry the glider redeploy? #1, it allows you to build battle anyone and not really be worried about being third-partied or being, you know, shot down. And next, it allows you not only build battle, but to camp on top of builds, which is so valuable nowadays, because if I'm sitting up here and let's see the base is either, okay, for players to take me down out of here, they're either going to have to expose themselves to shoot at the base of this, whatever I'm on top of, which I don't really know how secure the base is, but it's definitely a decent amount of secure. It's going to be hard for them to shoot it down, or they're going to have to build up to me and try to fight me, which of course, no one wants to build up to you when you're camping 10 stories up in the sky, because essentially, you know, it's going to burn through their mats as well, and it can burn through your mats also. So you can see here, this is the great stuff you can do with glider redeploy as we analyze this gameplay right here. 3 people left with 11 kills, so obviously that means there's 2 people left. I'm moving in with this zone, and I'm basically creating an edge to this where I know that right now it can be shot down fairly easily, but I'm not concerned, because the thing with the glider redeploy is if you drop, you can expose yourself for really easy damage. However, with the glider redeploy, it's a little bit different from the launch pad or jump pad. Sure, you don't fly through the air as quick, but you can actually choose when you activate it, and you have 10 activations, which usually, if you're picking this up around like top 20, top 30, should last you the rest of the game. But the way that you can do it is when you drop, and you'll see me do it here in a second. This is what's so great. It's a 1v1, and I have free height advantage here, because I know at some point he's going to shoot me down. I'm going to have to move and rotate, obviously, with the zone, but I'm not concerned at all. If I didn't have a redeploy right there, that would have burned like 200 mats to get down from there. Instead, I can glide down easily. That's what I like to do, is stay behind the trees or natural cover when you're in the sky. And then I'm in a spot where the only negative thing about doing this strategy is really the builds that we'll go into, like you guys saw in that first build fight. I invested quite a bit, but by winning that build fight, I got the positioning. I got the high ground on top of the mountain. And once it gets down to that, when I'm in a position like this guy decided to move horizontally there because he had to, because of the zone. So I take that time to move up and push a little bit aggressively. And the reason why I'm staying on top of this player and being a little bit aggressive here is because I know that this player is pressured by the zone, and then of course I only have like 300-400 mats left. If I had 1,500 mats left, like full-on mats, probably just would have waited for him to come to me. And you can see there how sort of just not worrying about fall damage, having the glider redeploy allows me to win that fight. Here we go to another gameplay here, a little bit of a lower kill one, but you can see the next zone is going to be on top of this, you know, part of it is going to be on top of this mountain, which is probably going to be the best section of it. So I do the same strategy here, and this is when there are times when you have to play aggressive. I want that high ground late game, and this gameplay shows it. Last game you saw, I was on the edge of the mountain on top of a huge build. I want to do that again this gameplay because that gives me the huge advantage. And the big negative is, what am I investing into this build fight? Which the thing with this is, like, when I'm using wood in this build fight, and by the time I kill this player, they're probably going to have used their 500 wood or most of their wood as well. So I'm basically in a build fight with this guy. Also, this guy wasn't using wood. He was already on metal. But I'm totally cool with this because look at the zone. I have to, taking this fight, I'm burning through mats, but I kind of have to take this fight if I want to have the best angle at the zone, or the best, you know, the best perspective on the zone, because I'm thinking that if I win this fight, I can do sort of what I did in that last gameplay and hang out up top and then glide to redeploy out. However, right here is where I'm like, okay, you know, fighting against a good builder, even though I'm staying above this guy for the most part, I'm keeping the high ground. Even when he tries to get above me for a second, I'm just rebuilding, taking high ground up above him. It's still like I'm investing quite a bit into this. You can see here now he got some shots into me because I messed up my builds. I have to invest 2 campfires into this, which is fine because I have 2 campfires and also a bunch of minis. But this is the thing with 6 minis that is another thing to talk about endgame. You can actually run out of minis. It sounds stupid because everyone that's been playing this game for a long time, and you can see right there, like I wouldn't have been dead, I would have landed on this, but I can just glide to redeploy, and the reason why I land back here is because I realized I was gliding so slow. So I set up a mini base right here, and once again, we're in basically an identical scenario, but on another area. And why is this so important? Now, back in the day, end zones had a lot of even playing ground, but nowadays, let's look at the 4 quadrants of the map. One quadrant, you have the Pleasant Park, these sort of mountains you see me, you know, winning in these end game scenarios in this gameplay. The other section, you have a volcano, which is very, very vertical. You have Paradise, which has so many super duper high mountains, rifts, zip lines, stuff like that. And then same with Polar Peak, which is probably the most difficult place, like mountain in the game to build up to or to get down from without a redeploy or a jump pad, which is of course Polar Peak. Right here, why is my decision to use a jump pad instead of the redeploy? Because I had 3 of them, and redeploys are nice, but if I had a jump pad, you can see they're even quicker. No one can get some shots into me. Now, once I set up here, I realized once again, this one I'm in a little bit of a tougher scenario because by the time I have 400 mats left, I'm not in a 1v1, there's still 6 left. So I sort of misplanned it with mats. Luckily, when I move into the zone and win this gunfight, I know immediately I can't go for the high ground against that player because I have to go for the low ground and for these mats, which is the right play. He gets a shot in on me, but I get all of this guy's mats that I killed, and that is a full basically replenish. And once I get to here, it's you know, basically just playing it out. And this is where I've rotated early, so other players are going to be moving in, and there's 4 players left, so 3 enemies. Once again, double campfiring up. This is I knew that I had these double campfires, and that is another thing. If you don't have anything like that, carrying a redeploy can be a lot more risky, you know. And when you take damage, then you have to just rely on either maybe carrying a med kit or a slurp juice. Sometimes I could do something like that instead of a SMG. It all depends. Some people need an SMG all the time. I think that what you really need is an AR and a shotgun and a redeploy for like that top 5 scenario. But SMG, you can honestly win fights just by, you know, shooting with the shotgun, build. Right here, I get some shots in on this guy, and once again, it is time to go aggro. I realize once I get some shots in, it is time to go aggressive, move in, and going aggressive isn't that scary as long as you do what I did right there. When you go into a 1v1 with the enemy player, it can get a little bit risky and probably isn't the smartest like play to do. Like, it is pretty high risk. However, I landed on the opposite edge of him, and I realized he had his builds out. He of course went for the trap play, which is pretty predictable, something that a lot of people will do, and I'm standing on the other side, so of course the trap doesn't hit me, and there we go. Now once we get into this scenario, glider redeploy is even nicer nice for just things like that, where you can just do a little glide, and then I'm in the zone here. This player is, well, I'm not even in the zone. We both have to move. This is a scenario where we both have to move, but I have the zone advantage. He has to move more towards me. You know, I'm closer towards it, so I'm sort of just taking my time, waiting on this guy, trying not to over peek it, making sure I don't get sniped, and just staying, you know, in position, because realizing I have zone advantage here. Now, this guy was doing a decent job of building, but right there I hit him for 35, 70 damage, and then once you have zone advantage, it's easy. Look at this. Just wait on him, boom, 145 or whatever with the shotgun, and another victory royale. So hopefully these tips and tricks did help you guys out. You don't, like, this is just my strategy. I really think, though, with the amount of mountains and BS all over the map, and also the way that everyone builds so fast and the lack of mats, high ground is more important than ever, and glider redeploy gives you that freedom. So I definitely do recommend it. I think it's a very, very important item, and you'll see in all my gameplays. You know, I'm not just saying this. I mean, sure, some of my wins, I don't have it every single game towards the end, because sometimes you won't find it, but if I do have an opportunity to swap out to it and there's like 5 people left, I'm pretty much always going to take it, because of the fact that I know that, you know, just being able to build. And also, there's the thing, if I have 100 mats, I'm probably not going to take the glider redeploy. If I have full mats, it's worth a lot more, because if you only have 100, 200 mats, you can't even get to that high ground. But if you have 1,500, of course, it's a lot more valuable to carry. So hope you guys did enjoy that. Some tips and tricks. Of course, you can still win endgame without it, but there's different strategies that go into it. I think that's the easiest way to get consistent wins and win endgame. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.